The modern world is a stressful place. Our physical and mental attributes that evolved many centuries ago were designed to deal with a very different world to the one we find ourselves in today. In his 1970 book Future Shock, Alvin Toffler said, "In the 3 short decades between now and the 21st century, millions of ordinary, psychologically normal people will face an abrupt collision with the future. Citizens of the world's richest and most technologically advanced nations will find it increasingly painful to keep up with the incessant demand for change that characterizes our time. For them, the future will have arrived too soon." Hello, my name's Stephen Mordew, lecturer in social work and an advocate for how self-care and being organised can fuel your productivity, both at work and in your home life. Let's start by talking about stress, and let's start doing that by talking about buckaroo. My aunt and uncle bought me this game for Christmas one year when I was quite young, and I loved this game. The idea is you load up the donkey with everything you wanted to carry for the day. And that's just like life, isn't it? The things we have to do for our family, the things we have to do for our friends, the things we have to do for ourselves, and the things we have to do at work, all have to be carried in some way. And it's fine when we've got a few things to carry. It's quite easy. We carry them no problem. But as things start to get heavier and heavier, and we start to become more frustrated, then we buckaroo. It would be great, wouldn't it, to live in a world with no stress? Or would it? A little stress motivates us to action. It gets us going. It initiates our fight or flight response by flooding us with adrenaline and cortisol. So when we feel threatened, when we feel there's something to do, we respond by doing something. So all of those things that we need to do every day that just have to be done, like getting the children to school, doing the shopping, driving to work, preparing the meals, all of those things are probably manageable, and they create what we call our background stress. But what happens when things get too much? What happens when things get on top of us, when we become overwhelmed and we find that we become emotional, intolerant, and our usual coping mechanisms give out? That's the point. We've reached our resilience threshold. So no stress is not a good thing. What we should be trying to do is keep the stress in our lives in between our background stress and our resilience threshold. There are things we can do, activities we can undertake, ways of being that will increase our resilience, push our resilience threshold higher. And there are things that we can do that will reduce our background stress to move that to be lower. Let's explore them. Sleep is the cornerstone of our self-care. We need to get the right quantity and the right quality. And exercise is a great stress buster and also has huge benefits for our physical and mental well-being. There's increasing evidence that what we eat has an impact on our minds. There's a relationship between our gut and our brain that can affect our mood. And meditation and mindfulness have a really important place in helping us manage our emotions and the emotional content of our lives. Being organised is absolutely crucial. How do you fit all of these things in if you're not organised? If you don't have all your ducks in a row, as I like to say. You need to know what there is to do so you can plan when to do it. And the consequences of that, hopefully, are the ability to deal with the stress that life presents you. The problem we have in the modern workplace is that our inbuilt stress response, our response that fuels us with adrenaline and cortisol, is designed for fight or flight. It's designed so that we can run away from something. It's designed so that our primeval selves can run away from woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers. So the problem is, in the modern workplace, in our knowledge economy, in a workplace where we're tied to our desks, when we're feeling stressed at work, when we've got many things to do and not enough time to do it, we have nowhere to run to because we have to sit there and get on with our work. What this means is that over time, we start to normalize our stress response. Feeling stressed, flushed with adrenaline and cortisol, has a negative effect on our physical and our mental well-being. I'm sure you're all familiar with the term work-life balance. The idea is that we have a working life and we have a life outside of work, and we're meant to balance these two things. For me, this misses the point because what it does is it sets up work and life in competition with each other. And what tends to happen is we then view work as the thing we need to get out of the way so that we can get a life. But when you're doing life, and the life things you're doing are mopping the floor or doing the ironing, to me those feel like work. And when you're at work and you get that thrill of achieving something, achieving a great outcome, finishing a report, hosting a great meeting, that feels like life sometimes. Once we realize that the boundaries between work and play are artificial, we can take matters in hand and begin the difficult task of making life more livable. For me, there are three things that we need to balance. First, there are the things that we get paid to do, the things that we generally refer to as work. And as Ellie Cannon says, work is a significant part of an adult's life. It bestows on us a sense of achievement, success, pride, status, and self-esteem. Sometimes a job is more than a job for some of us. Secondly, there are then the things that we need to do that we don't get paid for. Hobbies, housework, the ironing, the shopping, those kind of things. And finally, there is rest and recuperation. It's important that we balance all three of these. We need to create order in the midst of the chaos that is the world around us. We need to create internal order so we respond to what life throws at us from a peaceful place rather than from extremes of emotions. We need to create order in our sphere of responsibility. That's everything in the bubble around us that is legitimately ours to deal with. If we can achieve this through having some sort of trusted system that keeps control of everything that's ours to do, then we can keep some of the chaos out. And there are ways that we can support keeping the chaos out, and ways that we can deal with the chaos when it slips in. Over the course of this series, we'll look at different ways to reduce our background stress and different ways to enhance our resilience threshold.